So here I am in Waterloo Road on the footbridge near Ferry Street, and what I'm going to do is go through the process of taking photographs. Now what I've done here is I've positioned myself. What I'm going to do is take a series of photographs that I can then replicate the position of my position on another road which does have trees, right? This is quite clearly, this one is almost completely without any trees. So I'm standing now directly above the curb, and I can see that because the curb is going straight up to the vanishing point up the middle of the picture. So I'm going to take a photograph there, then I'm going to move over so that I'm directly above the next white line, just by yes, I'm going to take a picture in that position, and then I'm going to go to the next white lines over here and position myself so that line goes straight up, and take a photograph there, and then I'm going to go over here and stand directly above the central median. The central median, am I about there? Yeah, about right. So then I'm going to take that series of photographs. So I've got a picture at 1, 2, 3, 4 points on this road that I can replicate on another street. Okay. So I've walked a little way up Ferry Street to a row of trees. Actually, I was on the team that planted these trees, my goodness, in about, when was it, 2010, something like that. So these trees are about 10 years old. And I'm going to go through the same process of taking photographs at corresponding positions. Now you can see that I'm going from the other side of the road. On Waterloo Road I started from the left side because it was just easier to photograph there because there was a sign blocking the right side of the road. Here I'm going from the left side. But never mind, when I get these back to the computer, when I download these pictures, I can flip them, right? And I'll show you how to do that later. I'll show you what to do with the pictures later. But anyway, I'm now standing directly above the curb, so I'm going to take a picture there. Then I'm going to walk over here, directly above this white line. Right, is it vertical on my picture? Yes. I'm going to then take a picture here. Then I'm going to walk over to the next white line. Over here. Then we're going to take a photograph at what would correspond with the central median. Right? So that's that curb line there. I want to make sure that's vertical on my picture. That's about right. So I'll take another picture here. And that will mean that I will have a record of trees standing at the corresponding locations that I took on Waterloo Road. Okay, now I'm on the footbridge. Which street is it? O'Brien Road, I think, or Borlindo. The footbridge going from Wanchai MTR across Hennessy Road. And here we've got a rather splendid, well, I think they're splendid, but I am biased because I was on the team that planted them in 2010. Wadyetia bifurcata. Palm trees in the central median in the middle of Hennessy Road. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the same process again by positioning myself like next to the curb, click, take a picture, go move over one lane. Come on. They seem to put these columns exactly where I want to photograph. It's annoying. Okay. And then, yes, click. And then I'm going to go over to the next lane. Remarkable. And then I'm going to go click. And then I'm going to go to the central median. Right. Stand in the middle of the central median. Yes. Okay, click. And then I might as well, just for the sake of it, do the same on the other side, because actually look, we've got 4 lanes on this side. I didn't even realize that. Okay, so center myself on that lane, click, center myself on this lane. Now when I know I've centered myself when the white lines are parallel to the vertical sides of the picture, right? Okay, so here I am above the on the left, on the eastbound side of Hennessy Road, and I just took a picture on there, or I pretended I did. I'm going to do it in a minute, and then get in line with this white line. I think it's about right. Click, and then I'm going to go along and position myself above the road curb, right, and click, get a picture of the trees from that angle. And that gives me a whole range of different angles that I've taken pictures of these palm trees from. Okay. The process that I went through to photograph my street with no trees, and also I went out to 2 streets which have trees, which will be a guide for me to do my before and after drawings. So if you come over a little bit closer, this is one of the before shots that I took. You may remember that I moved across the footbridge and took photographs at intervals, standing directly above the white lines so that I can easily find my position. Right. So this is the photograph that I've taken directly, standing directly above the curve. So do you want to come around a little bit right here so I get a better angle? Right, so you can see that I'm standing directly behind the curve, and then what I've done is, for the purposes of this sketch, right, this demonstration, I've decided that I'm going to take away this lane of traffic. Right, I'm going to make that I'm going to widen the central median, and I want to be able to position my trees down the middle of the road correctly. Right, so then, as you may recall, I went to Hennessy Road, right, and I took photographs again at corresponding positions, right, in line with this white line, this white line, this white line, and in line with the median, and in line with the curve. Right. And then I've copied these out on the photocopier, and then I've copied this one onto tracing paper, right, so that, and I'll show you why I've done that in a moment. What I need to do is to find a point, a corresponding point on both drawings, which is a definite point, so that I can get I can superimpose this drawing onto here correctly. And the point that I'm going to look for is the point that I'm going to establish is the vanishing point. So this is one reason why I've asked you to choose roads that are on the level and that are straight, so it's easy to establish the vanishing point. Right, so all of these points vanish to somewhere over here. Okay. That's my vanishing point over there, at this point. And then that must be the also on the horizon line. So I can establish my horizon line, which will be at 90 degrees to all of the vertical elements. Now, of course, the camera slightly distorts, so you might have to do a little bit of jiggery-pokery there, but let's see what happens if we get a right angle from that point. Right angle here. right angle this way. Okay, that's fine. So now I've got my horizon line here. I've got the vanishing point there, and this line running along the curve. And the buildings, you can see, the front face of the building is just behind, just behind the curb line there. Okay, so I've created that on here. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this drawing. Now, I know that what I want to do is, I want to have two lanes of traffic here, to the right of my to the right of the vanishing point. So what I've done is I've chosen this picture, which I took directly above this white line, right? And I'm going to do the same thing again. So the white line, I'm using the white line as my guide here. Now you can see it's not quite accurate. I mean, it's not quite at 90 degrees to the picture frame, because I must have wobbled slightly when I was taking the picture. So don't worry about the edges of the picture. The edges of the picture are not important. What's important is what is the vanishing point. Okay, so then I can establish the vanishing point again by drawing a line like that, and a line like that along the other curves. There's the vanishing point. So again, the horizon line must be on the vanishing point, and it must be at right angles to this line, not necessarily at right angles to the side of the picture, because I must have, as I say, I must have been leaning a little bit when I took the picture, probably because of those beams that were on the footbridge that I was trying, that kept on getting in the way when I was photographing. Right, so here is my horizon line on this side. So HL, extend that a little bit. Now what I can do is I can superimpose this on top, and the critical thing is to get the vanishing points exactly in the same position. So here's the vanishing point on this drawing. I'm going to overlay this so that the vanishing point is in the same. The vanishing points of the two drawings are the same, and then I'm going to have to rotate this a little bit, so that my vertical lines also correspond exactly, and the horizon line. Okay, so a horizon line, horizon lines of both drawings are in the same place, vanishing points in the same place, and my vertical lines in the same place. That means that these trees I can then basically trace off. Okay. So I can now trace off. Here's the curb line. Now, for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just doing this very, very, very roughly, right? So that's too slow. Just use this. Okay, so here. What I need to do is to transfer that information onto the drawing below. Okay, so so what I'm going to do is get a copy of this on tracing paper and then superimpose it on top of that. Okay, so I'll be back with you in a minute. So because I'm showing you this in hard copy, and I've got access to the photocopier here, but of course you can go through the same process on the computer. But if you do have a photocopier, then basically you put down the drawing that you want to copy here, and then you usually have a feed, a special feed here for, make sure you got, no, close, okay, A3, full colour, yes, and then you stick it into the spare tray here, okay. Ta-da! And then you pray. Ta-da! Magic! Right. Okay, right. Okay, so I've got the trees that I want. This is what I want to transfer onto this street. So then I again overlay the vanishing points exactly, and the horizon lines. Yes. And the vertical. Yes, it's all in the right place. And then I can go through the process of tracing off these trees onto, here's the curb, and I can this way, you know, you get the spacings between the trees. You can see that the you know, the spacings of the trees, you know, they're actually at regular intervals, but of course in the because of the perspective, you know, those spaces get much closer like that. Okay, so then I've got the tops of the trees are, you know, like up here. The other thing you can do, of course, is literally cut it out. You know, providing you've got 2 points that you can, you know, that you can actually the corresponding, the vanishing points. You know, then you're okay. You could actually cut this out and stick it into the correct position. Now I'm just doing this extremely roughly, just for the purposes of this. And then I've got my shrubs down here. Okay. Maybe I just see it so there's the side along the line of the existing central median, like that. And then just to make it a little bit clearer, try not to do what I just did and move everything. So what this does is gives you an approximate, well, it gives you actually an accurate positioning, right? So you've got these. I'm drawing them extremely roughly, exceedingly roughly. But I do know that the position is correct. The positioning of the trees is correct on this drawing. So then if we just take that out from underneath, stick some white paper underneath, and we can see, right, now we can see that this is I've got everything in the right position. Then I can start to spend time, you know, on drawing the leaves correctly, on getting the right kind of graphics, whatever I want. I can start to work all this up, right, and get some nice colouring on it. So then I'm putting time. I can put the time into the graphic side of it, with the confidence that the trees are actually in the right place where I actually want them to be. And so you can see just that would make a complete transformation of that street. I've done one other option which I want to show you as well, so we'll do that in another third video. Okay, so I've now got another photograph of the same street. This is a photograph that I took standing directly above the central median, because for this particular demonstration I want to widen. I've decided that I'm going to leave the central median and I'm going to widen the footpath and put some trees in the footpath instead. Right. So the reason I've chosen to stand here is because I get an oblique view of the trees. If I stand directly in line with the trees, I just see a massive foliage. Right? I don't see anything. By standing here, I get a better view of a row of trees along here, along this side. So I go through the same process of working out where the get my vertical line in here. Like that. So that's my vertical. I'm going to use the curve here to establish where the vanishing point is, and it's here. We can double check. Maybe we could take a line from the building. I mean, I know that the building is obviously parallel to the street in this case. Ta-da! Yep, same spot. Yeah. So all of those lines go back to the same vanishing point. Then I've got to get my horizon line at right angles. Right angles to my vertical line. Horizon line. Yeah. Oops. That's my horizon line on that side. Okay, so I've established where the vanishing point is over there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this row of trees. Now, you can see that I took these photographs of on Ferry Street of these trees, and I've chosen as my vertical line in line with the vanishing point to be 2 traffic lanes away from, trees with 2 traffic lanes away from my vertical line. And that's what I want to do here. I want 2 traffic lanes and then the trees. But the trees are on the wrong side of the road. Right? And this is the wonderful thing about tracing paper. And also, of course, you do this obviously on the computer. With the click of a button, you can just flip it. Right? So then I go through the same process of working out here's my vertical line, right, which is pretty obvious there. It's actually in line with that there. And then I'm going to just confirm where the vanishing point is. Vanishing point is here. Double check with yes, double check with the buildings, lines of the buildings that parallel to the road. Okay, and then again set up my horizon line at right angles to vertical. It's so difficult to see. My glasses keep steaming up because this mask. Yes. Okay, so there's horizon line again, horizon line, and I'll just do exactly the same thing as I did before. Superimpose the two vanishing points above one another. Like this. Everything. Horizon line, vanishing points, vertical lines are above one another, yes. And then again, I can draw in my new road curve over here. Now obviously I'm doing this extremely roughly for the sake of time. But again, I know that these trees are actually in the right position and at realistic spacings because they're real. Oops. I'm drawing it, and I just realised I'm drawing it on the wrong drawing. Right, so nobody spotted the deliberate mistake that I made. So I drew the trees on the wrong piece of paper. All right, but never mind. I've got the, what I can do is simply overlay again the street that I want to improve. Again, get the vanishing points directly above one another. Vertical line, horizon line, yes, perfect. In fact, my mistake made it easier because now I can see the trees more easily. Okay, so here are my tree trunks coming up like this. Here's my planting area along here, like that. And my trees go up to here, approximately. So going through this rough process means that you can make those mistakes, right? You can make those kind of mistakes and it doesn't matter, right? It's a bit irritating, but it just doesn't matter. I know that I can, and then I can flip the drawing and do the same thing on the other side, right? Which will look absolutely fantastic. Then I can start to work up the graphics more. and then I can spend time doing that. But as I mentioned before, then I'm working up the drawing with the confidence everything's in the right place and the right size. And of course you can do the same with vehicles. Make sure that you get some photographs with vehicles at the corresponding, on as many of the lanes as you can, so that you can do exactly the same thing by simply tracing through the vehicles, and then we can see that this is you can see that this, and if you did the same thing on the other side and flipped it, I mean, you basically transformed the whole street just by, and then your footpath, right? Then you would get rid of the, get rid of the old curb line there, so that your footpath paving, goes all the way across. Now we've got a person here. Here's a person. Now that people will be the same size as that on a horizontal line that goes all the way across. So if somebody was standing over here, they'll be the same size as that, approximately. That's realistic. And so make sure that you, and then of course people further away, that much smaller. So make sure that in your photographic references you get some people and some vehicles as well, so you can get the sizes of them correct. Alright, so I hope that gives you a kind of a rough idea of how to set up the drawing. I'm not going to go at all into the graphics of this, but the setup is important to get that correct. And so tracing off is a very useful technique. Thanks.